There's a saying, woman hits the wall when they get to 30. And I've shown in my previous videos that women do tend to get a lot less attention from guys by the time they get 30. So let's look at a graph that shows the relative fertility rate by age in years. So we can see that men and women both have similar start of fertility at around 80 to 90%. And then it starts to dip by the time women gets into their early 30s. And then it drops significantly year by year. And by the time they get to 40, the fertility is very low. And this is why doctors say that at 35, moms are considered geriatric mom, which means you're really old and you're at risk of having kids with, chromosomes duplication and can cause things like Down syndrome. But for men, it doesn't really matter. And some even say men age like fine wine as well, even though physically we all age around the same time. But we can see that men only has their fertility starts to significantly drop after 45. So when the guy gets more resources by the time they are in their 30s and the fertility stays the same, their perceived value do increase, whereas women, their perceived value for dating diminishes because their fertility is running low by the second. This is why I think age for women is really important because by the time we get to our 30s, our options have diminished. So this graph again here shows the men's age versus the age at which the woman looks best to them. So by the time that men gets to their 30s and they're still single, they would prefer to chase after the girls in their 20s rather than someone around their age, unless they're already settled down and have kids with that woman that is the same age as them already. Personally, I see this quite a lot because some of my friends in their early 30s, the girls starts to have their biological clock ticking and they have a significant like rush to find a husband and have a kid. As for men, they're a bit more relaxed, but one of the more common breakups that I've heard when both men and women are in their early 30s are that the men wants to pursue bigger and ambitious goals rather than settling down with the woman, leaving the woman having to go back out there in the dating market in the early 30s to try and get a guy to have a kid with them immediately, which will not lead them to have a lot of options as they did in their 20s and have to settle with their third or fourth options. This is just to show that dating is a lot more biological and nature driven than we think.